Excellent, good.
There are people who believe that unicorns don't exist, that they're just a myth. They're wrong, so wrong. Because in this world, there are as many unicorns as people. You see? Unicorn here, there, and another one. Unicorn, 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 popcorn, unicorn. What color are they? Are they tall, short? Are they on wheels or wings? Well, in this world, you decide. The thing is, they're shy, so they're usually hidden, but they're always there. In fact, unicorns are just the beginning of what you can find in this world. Their world. There are
Thank you very much. As I said, I'll just take you through a little bit background on what Lego is and some of the values that we are using when we guide ourselves in terms of getting to solutions and actually getting to the workplace of what we call the near future efforts. So the Lego Group, we are fourth generation family owned, founded back in 1932. We've been placed in around 120 countries where we are selling. We have more than 20,000 colleagues, and we've got a number of brand recognitions from around the globe. We have hubs and our headquarters in Billund in Denmark and in the outskirts of Denmark, and we are separated or closed also in London, in Enfield, Connecticut, in the US, in Singapore and Shanghai. And then we have production around the world from Denmark to the Czech Republic, Hungary, Mexico, China, and also we'll be opening up in 2 years' time in Vietnam. And we have our own offices in 37 countries around the world. And then we operate a number of Lego brand retail stores. So in terms of understanding the Lego Group, 20,000 people that are working for us, about half are in our factories, the other half are in our back office or in our sales. And a small proportion is in our brand retail stores. So just as the video illuminate, I mean, what we are really all about and our mission, that is working off that children are our role models. And that also translates into how are we working as employees at the Lego Group, and how are we taking that mission into everything we're doing and into our design. And to take that on further, what we are really wanting to do with our vision is really to inspire and develop the builders of tomorrow. And that will be, of course, kids, it will be their families, and this also ourselves as employees at the Lego Group. So as much as we want to inspire our customers and consumers, we also want to be inspired ourselves, because that's how we translate the Lego DNA and the Lego values further on. We have a rather ambitious goal for our 100th years anniversary that's coming up in just 10 years. So in 2032, we want to be known for a global force for learning through play, because we really believe that play is really important to developing people in the future, and also to develop our own self. And the way we've tried to work on that is we are working off a number of, you can say, paths. So we have the long-term brand vision of being the force of learning. And then we're working off a strategy cycles with very clear practices and action plans. We are right now in the last year of this current strategy cycle, and I'll just get back to that just shortly. And then towards the end of this year, we will be crafting on our new priorities and what we should focus on in the near future, so in the coming 3 to 5 years. And what we're really looking into as a company and from our strategy, we have sustainability really as a hallmark in all we do. We are a toy company producing toys of plastic, which is in long run not sustainable. So we're really looking into different materials, different usage of energy and so forth, and recycling, used Lego, used plastics and so forth. That's really at the core of what we're doing. Then we have a number of initiatives regarding our portfolio, so new products and how can we engage with partners. How can we reach more kids around the world with our channels, both online, but also new countries that we're opening up in. We opened our own sales office in in India just 2 years ago. Then the last part really is on the enabling part, which is the one that I will be speaking to shortly, which really is all about creating the infrastructure and creating the facilities for delivering on all of these really nice strategies and really nice visions that if we don't really support it with investment, it doesn't really come anywhere. So we translated that strategy into what we're doing this year in 2022, really is to sustain the momentum and the transformation that we are experiencing right now. So we have a topic on Energize Everybody Every Day, which is really employee related, how we're dealing as a business. We have a topic on driving demand, so how can we increase the capacity and the products we're bringing to market. Innovating for the future, thinking new things about, as I said, sustainability, but also our products, and then the strengthened foundation that is a key piece of it. I just want to mention that these are some of the initiatives that we are working on right now, really to leverage and carry out here in 2022. But as we did our plans 4 years back, and then once a year we are looking back at it and saying, okay, so what is going on in the world around us? How are consumers changing? What's the impact of the pandemic, and so forth. We are currently readjusting and continue to readjusting a lot of the initiatives. So the ones in gray are new initiatives that come in that we have decided to put really up at the forefront of everything that we're doing. And one of the things that we really are really adamant about keeping in place, that is the health, safety and well-being, including the work flexibility through COVID, but also past COVID. That will be the ones that I'll be focusing on and talking a little bit more in detail about here going on. So how is that being actually then translated into HR and how we are working? So at HR in LEGO Group, we have 8 main priorities that we're working on, which really plays around how we can engage our leadership and develop our leadership. How can we develop an organization that can respond to what is happening around the world? How can we maintain this family-owned culture that we have? So as I said, 4th generation came into the chairmanship of our foundation here just last year. So how can we maintain and draw that red thread throughout our culture? And how can we continue to increase our talents and nurture the talent that we already have on board? So last year we globally net hired about 2,000 employees. This year we will be doing the same. And in 2023, we'll probably be reaching about the same number, and then we'll gain a little bit more up towards 2024, where we're opening up our factory in Vietnam. But we're translating all of this into, as I said, 8 key priorities that we're working on as an HR team. There's a lot about reputation and talent and engagement. We really want to build our core capabilities within HR. We want to focus on how can we retain our top talent and continue to build it, but also how can we build the next generation of talent, so increasing our bench strength. So those are the more long-term strategic priorities, and then we have some short-term, which is really about our data, our processes, and our platforms. How can we digitize things? We are, in many respects, and this is to be quite transparent, we are an old company in terms of how we function internally. So we have a 𝑑𝑖𝑟𝑒𝑐𝗺 model in terms of how we are building up our HR with business partnering, centers of excellence, and shared services. We're working off old SAP platforms for handling a lot of our processes. And a lot of that is going to change end of this year, where we will transform into a new both organizational, but also more importantly, process and platform setup, where we will go to Workday and roll out Workday. We have a key number of promises, and one of them that I really want to build on, that is our people promise, which is all about succeeding together. So when we talk about succeeding together, it's everything from how we measure our bonus. So we have a few KPIs that everybody share across the LEGO Group. We don't function or focus that much on individual KPIs for bonus as an example. So that is one key thing that is shared across everyone. We also have in all of our initiatives, when it comes to learning, we really want to ensure that our learning is available not just to the ones behind the screen every day, but also the ones who stand on the shop floor in the factories or in our retail stores. So it is really about having this sense of family, sense of we are succeeding together. And one of the things that we focused on and that we announced just end of last year is our responsible workplace. So how can we create a safe and inclusive workplace? And one of the things that we also did was extending the parental leave. But if I focus on the safe and inclusive workspace, so with our DNA and with our culture at the LEGO Group, the office is going to continue to be a key focus point for us. So we introduced a hybrid model of working that allows for employees to spend 2 days a week working from their home address, in close collaboration, of course, and agreement with their leaders and with the team that they're working on. So in my case, I have a leader who sits in London. I sit in Billund in Denmark myself. I'm part of an extended team that cuts across a number of countries. So my presence in the office is really required when I have meetings or when I have special occasions with the team to network and so forth. So for us, when we decided to work upon this responsible workplace and how can we create a safe and inclusive workplace, a lot of the values that we had about how can we create a fun place that inspires people, how can we create that so in a way that it is as attractive both to people coming from the outside wanting to join the LEGO Group, but also for the people who are employed already at the LEGO Group. How can we make that as enjoyable as possible, and how can we fit the offices to actually do a lot of that? And I won't focus on this one here. So basically, we've come up with 6 different ways of approaching this, what we call best of both our hybrid ways of working. So it is really, as I said, about 3 days in the office, 2 days at home, but also recognizing that there is no one size that fits all. And one of the keys to really preparing the hybrid work is the trust. And we are really fortunate that we are working with a high degree of trust between leaders and employees at the LEGO Group, and that enables us to do quite a lot of things. So one of the things was that when COVID hit us hard 2 years ago, in March of 2020, we went, like a lot of other companies, like a lot of other countries, we went more or less completely virtual. And what we saw was that we actually had an ability to deliver, not just on what was already agreed upon, but actually speed up on some of the deliveries. One of the examples that we had was we were planning to do split shipments when we did online fulfillment. So when someone is ordering at Amazon, instead of the LEGO Group sending that specific product to a central warehouse and then shipping it out there, we were able to take that order directly from Amazon and then distribute it from our own warehouses. And that was a project that was already on the table prior to COVID, and it was scheduled to last, I think, 9 months. And when COVID hits and we saw a really spike in online commerce, what we did was we more or less cut through all of the red tape in terms of decision making, and we're able to execute in 3 months. So really getting a really fast turnaround time on that. And that is, of course, because people, they trust each other, because we trust that people, when they go off screen, they're actually doing things. They're not just lying on their couch and relaxing. They're actually working and doing the best for them. Then we have the acknowledgement that we really want to ensure that you bring your best working self to work. So that is in terms of the work activities and the team arrangements and so forth, that really fits you, and that we as a company try to facilitate that you can actually be your best self at work, support you with the right tools and so forth. That creates that sense of belonging that we need. Then a really key important thing for us has been the agreements between a leader. So this has been an option, best of both, that is available to all the people who you can say fall within that scope. So of course, our employees and our colleagues in our factories, they have to go to work, they have to man the machines. Our colleagues in our brand retail stores also have to go into the brand retail stores and service our customers and consumers in the brand retail. But for everyone else, which is about half of our population, it is really about being upfront and being transparent. This is what we're doing. It's about communicating. And it's not about saying, okay, if you're not in the office, then what's going on? But it's about saying, okay, I'll be in the office this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or I'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or however you want to fit that, and have that discussion around the team and really say, okay, so how can we make this work best? And not just having these, you can say, conversations in teams. We try to facilitate that with coaches so that each team will have those conversations and really understand where they want to go. But it's also about creating and supporting people in the transition from being maybe fully virtual to being partly remote and partly in the office. So what can we do to actually increase the remote leadership skills of our leaders, and put a lot of training available there for our leaders, and also coaching on how you work as a leader with a team that might be remote part of the time and might be in the office part of the time as well. So that whole thing about the learning, the leadership piece, but also the tools, the tech infrastructure that need to work on, whether it be mirror boards or our Office 365, whatever, but really making all that available. And then we also know that the well-being in this setup is really key to us. So in connection with our colleagues in our health and safety, I mean, we've done a lot of evaluation sheets where we are helping colleagues to assess what fits them best and whether they need a bigger screen, a different keyboard, or something else to really set up their own home office. Unlike some of the companies that we hear about, especially from the US, we are not funding, you can say, a complete redecor of your home with everything. What we are offering is different screens, mouse and keyboards and so forth that you can use in your house wherever you want to be. But it's really you can say the accountability of the employee to place it where they have the best work environment. And then there's a lot about the mental well-being, and I'll come back to that shortly. But it really is important for us that sense of belonging to, you are working at the LEGO Group, and it is special to be working for us, and that you don't just have a sense that, okay, I'm sitting behind the screen 3 or 4 days a week, and I'm only seeing my colleagues from the president and upwards. I'm not seeing the full figure. That has an impact on your mental well-being and your sense of purpose. And if it was just, I mean, that's our belief at least, if it was just online or virtual from wherever, we would not have that culture that we have, and that is so fundamental to us in terms of really bringing forward products that delight and inspire kids and families. And then you can see the last piece really is, and this is for us, it's a mental leap for us to go into a test and learn. We really want to try this out, but we also acknowledge that since we launched some 3 or 4 months ago, we'll be launching successfully. So as countries they open up, we will introduce this concept to more and more countries and to more and more workspaces that we have around the world. But we also know that we need to continuously listen to our colleagues and get feedback from them on what is working, what is not working, and then adjust the concept. So if it turns out that we will have a work-life balance issue because people, they feel they're always on, or if they feel that we can't get things done because of commute or whatever, then we need to readjust and find out what works best. And that is something that I wouldn't say is new to us, but it's something where we need to step back and dial up on the you can say the fail fast or learn fast cycles and really get as much learning as possible within a short period of time. So how does it actually look like the future of work? So if I take the example of our Lego campus, our headquarters here in Finland, but we're trying to work and trying to create and sort of the levers that we are utilizing. If we start from the bottom and up, of course we need to make sure that our offices are functional. That's whatever we decide to have in it, that's in it. Some of the things that we are working with that we've had in our hubs in our major countries, so US and then in London and in Singapore and Shanghai, has been elaborate facilities available to them. We have now just introduced that in Finland as well. So we have not just fitness, but we have creative studios, we have a karaoke bar, we have lounges and a lot of other stuff. So really having the functions and also the setup, the physical setup in the area, which is really very much on the operational side. So how many people are we in the office? What is the purpose for them being in the office? If they want to do creative workshop sessions, do we have the offices? Do we have the space available for that? Do we have the technology to connect with people who are online or who work from other countries, or with partners from the outside? How can we connect all of that? That has been another key driver in terms of really digitizing all of our workspaces. So with smart boards and with really great internet connection and state-of-the-art video and so forth. And then if you go to the last three of them, really the inspiring environment. So how do we bring Lego into play? So in terms of you can't find an office in any Lego, or you can't find a room in any Lego office where you don't have bricks, for instance, in the room. And it is, I wouldn't say so ingrained, but all the people who've been here more than a year at Lego, they start sitting and meddling with bricks whenever they get into a meeting. So that's just one of the things that we're trying to bring out. And then it's about really showcasing what Lego is all about. How can we do that as we go along? And then it's the benefits that we're offering. So what is that we are tying in with being in the office? It could be our healthcare that we have in the office, where we have doctors or we have physicists that can help us if you have anything that you want to do. We have gyms and yogas and so forth that can actually help you relax during the workplace and do other stuff than just going to work. And lastly, we have the whole social piece, really about creating a community around our office, both in terms of team building. So one of the things that just opened up here in Finland was that we've opened up a master chef kind of kitchen. So you can start having team building exercises with that, and just have lunch if you want to on that specifically. But it's really about how can we create a community that can actually support all of that, and that comes on top of all of that. And what it looks like, I won't go all too much into detail, but we've just created this people house, which is 8,000 square meters, where we want to really create all of these opportunities and make them come true. Some of my colleagues are jokingly saying, yeah, we want to create a workplace that you don't want to leave again. And that's, of course, not the intention, but it is really about creating a push or a pull, really, that people, they want to go to the office because it's exciting to be in the office, and you get to meet your colleagues and you get to meet them in different settings, and really experience what Lego culture is all about. And we believe that, at least for now, this is the concept that we are moving in. So this has been replicated in all of our major hubs, and we will be introducing it to some of our factory sites, starting off here in Denmark, and then also with our new factory in Vietnam shortly, where we'll introduce elements of this here as well. So it's not just for the headquarters people, but it's also for everyone who's out there in sales and operations and out there in our teams. And then, of course, it is really interesting. So how has this been taken in, as this is a concept that we've slowly introduced over the past year and a half, and also in connection with COVID and lockdowns. So if we look at how our employee engagement scores have developed over the past 2 almost 3 years, we can see that if we hone in on May in 2020, we actually had our highest score ever just at the time of the lockdown. And people were saying, okay, yeah, let's fight this out. And the belief was at that time, yes, this is going to be a 3, maybe a 6 months period where then we will be fine again. But when people came back after the summer holidays in 2020 and came into the fall of 2020, we also saw a decline in some of the scores, and people were getting exhausted about working virtual or shifting in and out of being allowed to go to the office or not being allowed to go to the office. But what we have seen more recently is that with the surveys end of last year, is that we have continuously been able to build on it. So with the communication and with the initiatives that we have introduced, both in terms of the employee net promoter score, then a whopping 68, which is something that we are extremely proud of, that whenever we have colleagues that they are recommending LEGO as a workplace, but also in terms of our motivation, we're going up again from 82, which was at that time the highest, to another point of 83. And what this tells us really is that we have a highly motivated and engaged workforce, also in the journey that we have embarked on. We also know from our latest survey, just completed at the end of last year, is that we do have some rumors, we do have some talks about why don't we go fully fledged virtual and move in that direction, and why do we need the office at all? And to be honest, I mean, when we asked the question to our colleagues, so where would you like to work? Where do you feel you are contributing best? And about roughly a third wanted to work completely remote, another third wanted to be in the office full time, and then there was a last third in sort of in the middle. And taking that into account, with our culture, we decided on that we will be allowing 2 days remote, but in your home country or in the country where you're employed. And then we'll learn from there, and we will continuously adjust and see what it is. But we believe right now, and with the trajectory that we've had the past year, and also what we're taking into 2022, that this is, for us at least, the road forward to having a highly engaged workforce also in an office or in a workplace of tomorrow. I think that was it, what I had to share. I'm very open to hearing any questions, so either you can reach me here or ask them right now, or you can look me up on LinkedIn and post me the questions. I'll be happy to engage in any conversation at that point.
Thank you, Thomas. One question from our audience. How do you see the future in your company regarding digitalization, new skill needed, and new generations of employees?
That's a really big question. So to start off with the first, how we're seeing digitalization. So we coined just shortly before COVID, we decided that the LEGO Group, instead of just being a consumer product company, we wanted to be a digital consumer product company. And that means that we are transforming our entire digital department, so about 1,500 people around the world, into product teams, and we are using more new technologies and employing more of that to have technology in the play experience as well as in how we work. So that's one thing in terms of the transformation that is going full steam ahead at the LEGO Group. And out of the 2,000 that we hired last year and the 2,000 that we will hire this year, I would say roughly a quarter of those will be digital people, digital native people, or developers who will help us create all of these new experiences. So, and if you say then what are the skills that we're looking forward, it is really, it's not so much the functional skills, because I think we believe that we can actually train people into the right functional skills, but it's really the mindset of being able to be thrown out into unknown territory, but be given a direction where we want you to move, or where we believe that you might find the solution, and then really trust people that they are able, with their experiences, with their support from their leaders and their teams, really to navigate themselves. So structured problem solving, the collaboration, the teamwork, and having this resilience towards uncertainty, that those would be things that we would really value. And then whether you need to do a program in C# or .NET or whatever, we'll be able to help you along that way. But it's the other fundamentals that are really important to us.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Thomas.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here. It's been a pleasure.
Welcome.